dementia residents have very little freedom. Their liberties and freedoms are taken away from them on admission. The freedom of movement, the freedom of association, the freedom of financial choice, and the freedom of voicing their opinion and being heard. But there is one choice that they do have left amidst this, a very important choice, and that is the freedom to think the way that they wish, whether negatively or positively. That is within their control. So because of this, we decided to set up workshops on thinking, and the residents used to call the workshops the positive thinking workshops or the good thinking workshops. And we'd sit together and we'd work out how positive thinking helps. What is it? How it works? How it assists? How it can actually help dementia residents living in a dementia unit, and in what way, and sharing of experiences for those that had made that effort to think positively. This was a new concept for some dementia residents, to others not so. Those that had been involved in competitive sport actually really liked this whole aspect of thinking positively, and they used to say, this positive thinking is the good thinking. It's good for me, this is me learning, and it's good for my brain. And the dementia residents used to say that we like to learn, we're trying hard, and we need to learn. So this whole ethos of learning and thinking and engaging and making choice in their thinking was a really important part of the work that I did at dementia units, and in particular one dementia unit where this workshop really went very well. But I mean, it does take effort, of course. It's not easy because there's so many stresses with dementia. There's the memory loss, of course, which is stressful, present memory loss, though not past memory loss for most. And then there's anxiety and depression that comes about as a result of all this, and dementia blanks, which dementia residents can get, where everything entirely just blanks out. So while it's not as difficult to cope with inside a dementia unit as outside, because of course cares, cooking, etc. is looked after, still it's a distress. But with all the care, once they've come to the awareness as a group and individually, their cares are looked after, their cooking's done, their laundry's done, they're in a safe place. Once they had that sort of cemented in their intellect, if you like, or their thinking, once they knew that, they thought, okay, everything's looked after, we just need to concentrate on our thinking then. And that's what they did. Everything they geared towards positive thinking, the way they thought, the way they spoke, the way they behaved towards each other. Positive thinking being a big umbrella for a vast range of attitudes and, virtues and actions, if you like. It covered kindness and consideration and compassion and thinking in a good way. And it did not include being angry and aggressive and uptight and anxious and negative, especially not being negative. So anyone that was negative in the group, in thoughts, words or actions, if they were rolling their eyes or sort of grumbling and moaning or being sarcastic, they were told to leave the group, basically. The group said, look, we're all making an effort here to be positive. It's hard enough as it is. We don't want negative here. If you want to be negative, go elsewhere. And actually one or two dementia residents were kicked out of the group, more or less, booted out, whatever you like to say. They were dismissed, that's a better term. They were dismissed from the group, by the group, because they weren't being positive, because the residents realised it was a hard enough task as it was, being positive, without having people in there that were negative. And it wasn't just the core group that benefited, but those in the second row that used to listen in, though not partake, also got a lot. And it was good for the staff, because it's much easier when you've got dementia residents making an effort to be positive than moaning and groaning and being negative all day. And of course, the relatives really appreciated it, because if they had a relative who was in the dementia unit, a family member in the dementia unit who had been depressed, and now they were making an effort to be positive. It's much easier to communicate with someone who's more upbeat rather than them being depressed or anxious. So this is how positive thinking works so well for people in dementia units. It really does. And just under the umbrella of all the good values, good core values that they've been abiding by all their lives, really, and whether you call them Christian values or good values or positive psychology values, it really doesn't matter. The main thing is that this positive, good quality thinking enables these people to harness their thinking, harness their cognition, and through quality of thoughts have a quality of life in a dementia unit, which is the aim of this work, which I've written about in detail in both books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit, both on Amazon, hard copy, soft copy, and ebook is becoming popular, and my website, description below, pietavalentine.com. So thank you for your support and your likes. I really appreciate this engagement, and I so enjoy your comments. And yes, this channel is all about positive, practical techniques to help people in dementia units. And actually some really good comments are coming in that I haven't suggested, but people are suggesting to me about how to be positive and practical. And one point that was suggested yesterday when I did a short and a 3-minute TikTok video on walking, one viewer came in with the point and said that when she had a relative, I presume a relative, who wasn't walking and it was difficult to get them motivated, she used to either bribe them with a cup of tea or she'd say, we're going out on an adventure. So they were really good practical points. Cup of tea, everyone loves a cup of tea, especially the elderly generation, or we're going out for an adventure. So making it exciting and interesting and appealing so that the dementia resident, is more likely to come along with it. So thank you very much for those comments. I need to be reminded at times as well that really it's so important to keep this positive practical attitude, because negative only drags and drains us down. It really does. Dementia can be depressing, of course, but if we can take the other side, the positive practical side, so much then can be done. We conserve our energy and we, conserve our, and we generate enthusiasm when we're positive to be able to help these people. This huge, vast amount of work that needs to be done to help these people on a positive, practical level. So thank you, everyone, for everything. And please subscribe if you haven't and pass on the links. Thanks.